Hello there, geography nerds and fans of obscure countries. Welcome to a journey that promises to be as enlightening as it is entertaining. Tonight, we're diving headfirst into the heart of Africa, a place so rarely talked about it should probably start charging rent for all the peace and quiet. The Central African Republic, or CAR, is a landlocked country that often flies under the radar, but trust me, it's a hidden gem waiting to be discovered. That's right, folks, it's the Central African Republic, or CAR, for those of you who like your acronyms like your jokes, short and vaguely confusing. Nestled right in the middle of the African continent, this country is a treasure trove of natural beauty and cultural richness. Now I know what you're thinking, John, why the CAR? Why not someplace more glamorous like, I don't know, Belgium? Well, the CAR may not have the waffles, but it has something far more precious. And to that, I say two words: diamond mines. Yes, the CAR is one of the world's leading producers of diamonds, and these aren't just any diamonds, they are some of the most sought-after gems on the planet. Okay, fine. And maybe also because the CAR has a history so wild, so utterly bonkers, it makes a Kardashian wedding look like a Quaker meeting. From ancient kingdoms to colonial conquests and from independence struggles to modern-day challenges, the CAR's history is a roller coaster of epic proportions. We're talking centuries of adventure, intrigue, and enough political drama to make House of Cards look like a preschool playdate. The political landscape here is as complex as it is fascinating, with stories that could fill volumes. So buckle up, Buttercup, because this is going to be a wild ride. From its stunning landscapes to its rich cultural tapestry, the Central African Republic is a destination that promises to captivate and surprise you at every turn. Let's get started. Before the Europeans rocked up with their fancy hats and even fancier ideas about owning everything, the area we now call the Central African Republic was actually a pretty happening place. Imagine a land bustling with activity, where trade routes crisscrossed the landscape, connecting various powerful kingdoms. These kingdoms were not just small tribal communities, but were well-organized states with complex social structures and economies. Think bustling trade routes, powerful kingdoms, and enough local languages to make the United Nations look like a one-man show. The region was a melting pot of cultures, with diverse tribes each contributing to a rich tapestry of traditions and customs. We're talking kingdoms like the Kanem-Bornu Empire, a force to be reckoned with that stretched across the Sahara Desert like a camel-powered superpower. This empire was not just a political entity but a major economic hub, trading in goods that were highly sought after across the continent and beyond. These guys were trading gold, ivory, and sadly, slaves, centuries before anyone thought to put Central African Republic on a map. The trade networks they established were extensive, reaching far into North Africa and even into Europe and Asia. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, of course. Life back then was tough, and we're not just talking about the lack of Wi-Fi. The region faced its own set of challenges, from intertribal conflicts to environmental hardships like droughts and famines. But it was a world rich in culture, tradition, and stories that deserve to be told. The people of pre-colonial Central Africa had their own ways of life, their own systems of governance, and their own forms of art and expression. Plus, no colonialism yet. So points for that. The absence of European colonization meant that these societies were free to develop according to their own rhythms and needs without external interference. The tools and technologies they developed were suited to their environment, and their agricultural practices were adapted to the local climate and soil conditions. Their cultural artifacts, from intricate beadwork to elaborate ceremonies, tell the story of a people deeply connected to their land and their history. So, while it might be tempting to think of pre-colonial Central Africa as a blank slate waiting to be discovered, the reality is far more complex and fascinating. And then, in swooped the French with their love of baguettes, berets, and unfortunately, claiming other people's land as their own. They waltzed into the CAR like they owned the place, which, to be fair, was kind of their whole thing at the time. Suddenly it was all about French Equatorial Africa and assimilation, which basically meant everyone had to speak French, eat French food, and pretend to love accordion music. Not exactly the most culturally sensitive approach, to say the least. The French did leave their mark, though, and I'm not just talking about the language. They built roads, schools, and hospitals, albeit mostly to serve their own interests. But hey, at least they left behind some delicious pastries. Silver linings, people! Section 4, Freedom and Fireworks, Independence and Beyond. Fast forward to 1960, the year the twist was king, and so was the idea of independence. The Central African Republic, along with a whole bunch of other African nations, decided it was time to ditch the colonial shackles and strike out on their own. Cue the fireworks, the parades, and the speeches about a brighter future. Except, plot twist, things didn't exactly go as planned. Imagine a roller coaster that goes straight up, does a loop-de-loop, and then crashes into a banana stand. That's pretty much the Central African Republic's post-independence trajectory in a nutshell. Coups, counter-coups, and more dictators than you could shake a stick at became the unfortunate norm. There was even that whole Emperor Bokassa thing, but frankly that's a story for another day, or maybe a mini-series. Section 5. The struggle is real economic and social challenges. Let's be real, folks. The Central African Republic hasn't exactly been winning any most likely to succeed awards lately. It's consistently ranked among the poorest and least developed countries in the world, which, let's be honest, is a bit like coming in last place in a snail race. We're talking poverty, hunger, lack of access to education and healthcare, the whole shebang. And, as if that wasn't enough, there's also the whole ongoing civil war thing, which, spoiler alert, doesn't exactly do wonders for the economy or, basic human survival. It's enough to make you want to crawl under a rock and cry, preferably while eating a giant tub of ice cream, but hold on because it's not all doom and gloom. Section 6. Crystal ball, gazing, the Central African Republic, today and tomorrow. So, what does the future hold for the Central African Republic? It's a question that has been on the minds of many, both within the country and around the world. The CAR has faced numerous challenges over the years, from political instability to economic hardships. Yet, despite these obstacles, there is a sense of hope and resilience that permeates the air. Honestly, your guess is as good as mine. Predicting the future is always a tricky business, especially for a nation with such a complex history and diverse population. But one thing is certain, the people of the Central African Republic are determined to forge a better path forward. It's a country with immense potential, sitting on a wealth of natural resources like diamonds, which have the power to transform the economy if managed properly. Gold and timber. These resources, if harnessed sustainably, could provide a solid foundation for economic growth and development. Plus, the people are incredibly resilient, showing a remarkable ability to adapt and thrive even in the face of adversity. Which, let's be honest, they kind of have to be given the circumstances. The spirit of community and cooperation is strong, and it's this spirit that will drive the nation forward. The international community is trying to help, with peacekeeping forces working tirelessly to maintain stability and create a safe environment for progress, and aid organizations doing their best to pick up the pieces. These efforts are crucial, but they are only part of the solution. But real change has to come from within, from the hearts and minds of the people who call the Central African Republic home, from the people of the Central African Republic themselves. They are the ones who will ultimately shape the future of their nation. Will they be able to overcome decades of instability and conflict to build a brighter future? Only time will tell. The road ahead is long and fraught with challenges, but the potential for a brighter tomorrow is there. But hey, stranger things have happened, right? History is full of unexpected turns and miraculous recoveries. Like, remember that time a reality TV star became president of the United States? If that can happen, then surely the Central African Republic can find its way to a brighter future. Section 7. Parting Shots, a Comedic Farewell. So, there you have it, folks. A whirlwind tour of the Central African Republic, a country that's seen more drama than a soap opera marathon. It's a place where history hits you harder than a rogue mango falling from a tree, and where the future is as uncertain as the weather during hurricane season. But through it all, the spirit of the Central African Republic endures, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of hope. Or to put it another way, as the great philosopher and poet Drake once said, started from the bottom, now we here. Okay, maybe not quite yet, but a guy can dream, right?